about that?
It's all right. All right. So I'm going to have some beautiful music come up, and I invite you to settle in your chairs and take anything that's on your lap, put it on the floor. And if you are comfortable, close your eyes or go into a soft gaze. And just focus on your breath. Breathing in the light of God. Breathing out anything that's happened until now. Breathing in the light of God. Breathing out the love that's in your heart. Breathing in the love of God. Breathing out the peace that lies within. Continue to be aware of your breath. Feel the chair supporting you. And I invite you to extend roots out from the bottom of your feet and from your tailbone. And those of you virtually who may be on a couch or somewhere else, grow from wherever your body feels it needs to. For these roots to go down into the earth, down into the core. And allow these roots to wrap around this beautiful white crystalline crystal at the very center of the earth. And as you anchor into this pure energy of the God presence deep within the earth, allow this to come up through your roots and let it come up through your feet, your calves, your knees, come up through your thighs, come up through your body, and allow this energy to rest in your heart. And as you rest in this energy, you feel your heart getting warmer, and you feel your heart expanding. And as you continue to breathe, breathe down into the earth. Breathe in from the earth up into your heart. And then you're going to, on this next in-breath, begin to feel the energy of the divine from Creator God coming down into your crown chakra at the top of your head. And allow this energy to intertwine and intermingle in your heart space so that you are connecting the energy of the Sacred Mother, the earth, the God presence in the earth, with the God presence out in the universe. Is filling up your heart space with light, with love. And just allow yourself to rest in this beautiful energy and allowing your heart to expand even wider, even deeper. And allow this energy to move anywhere in your body where there might be blocks, or it might be dark. It might be a place the light hasn't hit for a while. Allow this energy to permeate every cell of your body. You may feel fluid as this light and this love moves throughout your body. Allow this light to nourish and to feed you. Anything that wants to be released or transformed, send it out on your out breath. So you're breathing in the light and the love, and you're releasing anything that needs to be released. It's all just energy. Source only knows light and love. And as you breathe, you may notice the presence of some violet energy coming in from the universe. This energy is the energy of the violet flame of Saint Germain. This light assists you in anything that needs to be transformed. And it also adds to this beautiful love that is coming down in and around you and through you. And this beautiful light fills every cell of your body, energizing you, filling you with love. Now I invite you to expand your awareness and fill up this room with that light and that love that you are creating and you're immersed in. Then I invite you to expand it out into the surrounding area. And then I invite you to send it out into our state. And then I invite you to stretch it even further throughout the entire continent. Allow our hearts to expand and open, sending out this beautiful light and love. We stretch our hearts a little more and we ascend it to Ukraine, to Russia, to Europe, to all of the land on this planet. And we send this love to the heart of every man, woman, child, and sentient being. Knowing that we are all divine light. And we are all divine beings, made from Source, made from God. And then we stretch this light even further, and we send it out into the universe as far as you would care to stretch it, to wherever it will be received in the universe. giving back the light and the love that has been given to us. As we give, we receive. And allow yourselves to feel this divine connection to all of life and all of creation. As we breathe, we begin to bring our energy back in from the universe. And we bring it back to our planet. And we bring it back from Europe, Ukraine and Russia, to all land. We bring it back. We bring it back here to our continent. And then we bring it back here to our state. And we bring it back here to our local area. And then we bring it back into this sacred space, this sacred and holy space in which we sit. And again, feel your body and your chairs. Bring all of this beautiful energy into your body. And as this energy remains in your heart space, send one more breath down through your roots into the earth. And breathe that one more time from the earth. And as you breathe in, begin to release your roots from the crystalline core. And bring them back up through the earth. Back up into your feet and your tailbones. Feeling this energy, this loving energy, we will intend that it will last with us the rest of this week until we gather next week. And know that you can return to this moment at any time. It's always available. And I invite you to be aware of your chair. Feel it supporting you. And allow yourselves to be fully back into your body. Wiggling your fingers and your toes. Moving your body, maybe giving a little wiggle to stretch. Make sure you're fully here with an open heart. And when you're ready, you may open your eyes. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It is so good to be here with you once again, and it is so nice to be here in this beautiful sacred space. And this was part of my inspiration for the talk of walking on hallowed ground, because not only are we on sacred land with the actual earth that we are on, and sacred ground from our ancestors that came before us, but we are in a very sacred space right here where we are meeting. And so I choose to see that it is a reverent place, just as our hearts are reverent. And we are also in a time collectively where it is a rich, rich time on the greater collective to be in our hearts and to really dig into love and to share that with one another. And then we are also in a very, very sacred time and space as we move through the transition. We are in the midst of new leadership here at Unity of Fredericksburg, and we are in a new space, and we are now in the process of revisioning and seeing what the future is going to look like. I feel like we have stepped another step deeper into a church without walls. Mm-hmm. And that's been a very, very powerful intention that we set many years ago. And it has been quite a ride. And it is such a beautiful, fertile place to be in, because we are in the field of infinite possibility. And anything that we can imagine, we can create and we can do. We have that power because God is our source. We are also in sacred ground because we are getting ready to enter into another season, and that is the season of Lent. We have come through Christmastide, and it already feels like it's been a whole year, and it's only been a couple of months. But we are entering into another season. And so, for those of you that follow a liturgical calendar, it is the 40 days before Easter. And it is practiced throughout the different denominations within Christianity in different ways. Unity does recognize Lent, and it is an opportunity to reach into our hearts and to renew our mind. And so it is a time to focus on our thoughts and revision our dreams, who we are, how we want to show up, and how we want to be in this world. And so this year, the season of Lent is themed. The theme for it for Unity this year is a season of grace and renewal. Okay, perfect. And so I'm going to go into just a little bit about everything, but not too many details so that we're good on time. In Unity, with the season of Lent, it is a time to reflect, and it is a time to receive and to take that guidance and that wisdom and send it out into the world. But before I go further into that, let's talk a little bit about love, because the season of grace that we are in is actually another season of love. We just came through the season of love where we had Valentine's Day. And so now, as we work with God's grace, we are working with God's unconditional love. And so for me, the word love and grace are the same thing. And that is an energy that we are born with, and it is something that is always flowing through us and is always available to us. Our job, and one of our jobs that we do when we take on our spiritual practice during the season of Lent, is to not seek that love and that grace, but to remove the barriers and the blocks that prevent us from experiencing that grace. Because it's always there. We just have to find out why we don't see it. And that is the work. A long time ago, people would collectively give up something for Lent, and we are still giving up something for Lent. We are giving up a more spiritual giving up and giving over and surrendering to Spirit than actually giving up something that we set ourselves up to fail with, just like New Year's resolutions. So that's what we're doing here with the season of Lent, is we are maybe taking on a new spiritual practice instead of giving something up. What can you take on during this potent time of collective energy that would help you to keep your heart open or to dig into your heart? And that is the purpose of joining together for Lent. Unity does have a publication for Lent that you can download, or you can order a physical copy, but you can just go to Unity's website and then order the booklet, and then you can have it right there on your phone or download it onto your computer. And it is on a love offering donation basis. I did leave some affirmations out on the counter that you can pick up if you haven't gotten those. Those came from that booklet. And there's also a postcard that I left there that have some other affirmations that came from that list, and some that Spirit had given to me as well for you to take, so that you can have some reminders to help you through some of your work during this time. So what is love in action? Love in action is choosing in each moment to dig into your heart and to challenge the fear that comes up and to not act on it. And it is something that is not always easy to do, because it requires one to be very conscious of their thoughts all the time. And we have so many distractions in our world that it's so easy to not be in it. So the way I like to look at it is God's love for us is always unconditional. God doesn't judge. God doesn't see darkness or light or evil. God sees love. God sees our energetic selves and who we are at our truest form, at our spiritual and soul level. And everything is just energy. And so that is our work during Lent, is to tap into that unconditional love. And for me, being love in action starts being unconditionally loving to myself. And I know that we hear this, and I know that it's harder to do than it is to say it. But it really is true that the more we love ourselves, the more love we can give out into the world. Which is why during our guided meditation that I did, we began with really filling up our inner space and really, really nurturing that, so that we then had all that we needed to stretch out, and we stretched all the way out into the universe. And we can do that in every day, in every moment. It's a conscious choice. And be gentle with yourself if you have a moment where you're not conscious. But you can set your intention to change that. And when you set that intention, the universe offers you the opportunity to practice. And notice I said the word practice. Nobody's perfect, and so this process is not one that is perfect either, and so that's why we practice. Love in action is also being in right relationship with others, and to seeing the light in them, and to be in a relationship with others. That doesn't mean you have to go out for coffee with every single person that you know, or every person you're in relationship with. That's not it at all. Because some people, it just doesn't need to be. However, you can still treat someone with love as you love yourself and have your own boundaries and your own space, and that's okay. It's your attention and what you do with what you have. And the other thing is to remember that when someone triggers you, you are being given a gift by that other person, because it's not about the other person, it's about something in you. So I always invite, when I'm doing this type of work, remove the trigger, remove the external circumstances, and say, what is that showing me about me? And it's not easy. And there are times I have gone for years without looking at myself when someone gives me a gift of seeing who I am. And I just stuff it away, and then something happens and then the universe brings light to it, and then the only way to work through it is to just move through it and then learn from it and release that attachment and surrender it. Surrender, surrender, surrender. And I like the word surrender better than release, because the surrender is actually a stronger, higher vibration. When you surrender and you give anything to Creator, Creator gives it back to you in a pure form. And that is much more loving and kind than of like, because you can release things from anger. You can also release things from love. But I just find that surrender is a more loving path and word and action to energy to work with. And to remember that everyone, underneath their skin, underneath their clothes, we all have the same composure. We are all the same underneath our outer part. And that really helps me to see someone in a loving way that I hadn't wanted to before. Right, next slide. So part of the question that I had on the previous slide of how you choose to be love in action, that's not anything that we answer today. That is part of the food for thought over this time until between now and Easter. It will be part of renewing the mind. So what I decided to do was break it down into some tools that we could use to help guide us through this time of working with our hearts and working with unconditional love. And through the season of grace, we can use a tool such as this. This is a labyrinth. This is a Celtic triple spiral. And one could walk one physically, or they could do it with their finger or with their mind. There are also apps out into the internet that have different labyrinths that you can walk. I like this one because it reminds me of the process of life: birth, death, renewal, and then you take that triple into any metaphor. And so the triple spiral is a little more confusing than some of the other labyrinths, but there's only like one way in and one way out. And with this one, you can either follow the path of the color, and it will take you from one area to the next. And then you would go back out, and you could even stop here in the center to reflect and to pause. And then you can follow that. And then when you come out of the center, then you can come out. Or the way that I have it illustrated is you can walk the white line going into the center, reflect and pause, and then go back out, and then go around and then go into your next one, and then follow all the way through. And then on your exit, coming out, that is your renewal. And so what happens is, and the reason why I like to have this is, it's nice to have a container where you have defined beginning, a middle, and an end. And this provides that structure. And as you are working within this structure, that is your anchor and your grounding that gives you the space to go and expand and go wherever you need to go to do your work. And so, so that's what we did. And I was trying to stay with the R's because that was kind of in the following in the booklet for Lent. So retreat, return, release. So for retreating, this first part would be just retreating from the head and working through the monkey chatter and the thoughts, and allow them to be there, and don't fight them or resist them, but allow them to start calming down as you go through that part of retreating out of the head, going into the heart. And then the next part, when you go up to this next part for the return, this is a returning to yourself and to your soul. Returning, and you could even begin some of that surrender during this time of return. And then the other one would be actually releasing what no longer serves. Or if you want to go to the metaphor of planting a garden in your inner self, you could be throwing out seeds as you're walking out, or planting your seeds when you went and reflected and paused. Planting those, and then as you plant them, what do? You detach from them, you let them go. You bury them up in the soil, they get covered, and then you nourish them with the sun and with water. So they take time to grow, and that's why this is also the season of growth renewal, of bringing in the spring into this process, because we are kind of already have some seeds that are dormant that are starting to sprout, but we are also putting in and planting those seeds for the future in our vision, and that's how we do that. And of course, throughout the way, you can always pause and reflect in any of those places. It's part of the process, and part of this is to really help us get still. And when we go into these spaces of quiet, it helps us to listen to the small, still voice within, and to help us listen to what it is that Creator wants to give us back once we have surrendered our thoughts and our egoic part of ourselves. Then that gives us the space to co-create with God and to really bring out into the world new ideas, divine ideas, and our renewed minds. Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, I've kind of already gone over those, so you can just go ahead and hit the space bar. So we are in the preparation of renewal, and we are a renewal every day. And so we can celebrate every day the blessings that we have, the life that we have, all of the wonderful things, the divine ideas and inspiration that comes every single day. And I wanted to give you some thoughts for renewal. These are some plants to seed. Loving yourself unconditionally is a very powerful step in harnessing your capacity for feeling happiness. Loving your imperfections and your uniqueness. Loving your heart and mind. Loving your strength and your courage. Loving your hopes and your dreams. And then taking a nice deep letting go breath and repeat this as much as needed. Some other things that you can do to nurture this love within yourself. I choose to love myself. I deserve to be happy. I create joy. These are just a few things that you can offer yourself during this time. I invite you to use the affirmations that I have given to you and to download the booklet and use. There are daily meditations in there through the entire season. And as you are planting your seeds, look at the ones that are taking hold and coming up through the earth. And look at the ones that aren't. There are some seeds that you plant that may not come up and may not come to fruition. And just surrender that. And then how are you nurturing those seeds? Are you removing the things around them that will choke them out? Use your intuition to know what needs to be released and what needs to be removed. And then you can think, all right, now that I have received this inspiration, how am I going to take that into the world and share it with the world? How can I love others in the world? How can I send this love and this light that's in me wherever I go? And then begin your preparations for the celebration that will come at the end of the season when we come into the renewal of the Christ energy that we will celebrate at Easter. So I invite you to remember that when you surrender and when you release, it is not letting go of everything. It is surrendering to a greater self and a greater presence as you walk in this earth plane. You can set your intention each day to consciously choose love in each moment. All you have to do is say yes. I choose to love in each moment. And I choose to surrender my fears, my doubts, and my blocks to the Creator and to God, and allow them to move and flow through you, and allow those blessings and the light to flow. And that, my dear friends, is my talk.
Oh, cute.
Swans are just a representative of grace and love, and so that was one that I actually created a few years ago when I was out canoeing. So allow this to inspire you to